Good
Hello, everybody.
morning. Right, morning, afternoon. I don't even know. What time is it, Lenny? Is it noon?
It is noon. It is
You
time.
had to look.
I
You had
did.
to-
It's been a crazy morning. I've been in back-to-back meetings, so guys, that's where a little more discombobulated than normal because I
Yes,
actually just got here.
I
So
know. That's so funny. So yeah, no, it's been a week though. I mean, our AI event, was a bit consuming for us here on the inside, but I think a huge success. So, thank you to everybody who attended, everybody who spoke, to our marketing team who, got everybody there, and I just, feeling good about how it all went.
so do you have the horse?
Do I have a horse? You want me to get every time I'm like, all right, I'll get the horse again. But yes, we have the horse, but the horse has the horse is different context right now, is the bottom line, right? So my big takeaway from all of the content was, within the next year, AI features are table stakes for every business, period. Right? I mean, you just have to be using the technology for your offerings to be competitive in the next generation of our marketplace. So, I mean, that's my big takeaway. It's like, it's no longer about the dead horse. It's like, all right, this is it, right?
Mhm.
You will not be competitive, period. So get
Agreed.
your developers figuring out what you need to do.
And let's riff on that for because it's been it's just been an interesting week and an interesting
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
The meetings that I just today, and this will put it in context what you're talking
Yeah.
about, right? One was with a data centric supplier on their roadmap about uh, leveraging AI across their data assets.
Yeah.
Um, the next meeting was an interview on behalf of a Fortune 100 company to understand the future of data collection, um, and with a vision of 5 years out of what does that look like, and with the assumptions being that we are asking fewer questions, we are leveraging AI for both how we collect data and how we leverage data, and that is where their heads are. My next call was with a Fortune 100 company directly, leveraging computer vision within their solution internal solution stack.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd share those those very specific examples on top of what we heard from the clients,
Yeah.
right? All the clients at IXAI,
Yeah.
and all the data that's about to come out in Grit here in another 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
The horse, yeah, you nailed it. The horse already left the stable
Yeah.
too. You
Yeah.
take that
Yeah.
analogy further,
Yeah,
right?
I know. It's just,
Uh, and
and it's
guys,
cool
this is
because
just the world we're in.
one of the speakers on day one, Donovan Andrews, talked about, who, is an Ogilvy consultant. So he's very tapped into all things, right? But one of the things he shared, which was sort of the quote of the event for me and Jasmine, who heads our marketing team, was, we haven't seen an innovation like this since fire. Like, this is bigger than mobile. And I keep thinking about, like, at one point we were discussing this, like, this is like mobile. And he's like, yeah, no, it's not. It's bigger than mobile. It's bigger than Wi-Fi in general. This is as big as fire. This will change the way we do everything. And it gave me goosebumps to think about it to that level that he can see it at. He's super ahead of the curve in terms of his learning. And, just brought me to a whole new level with it about how this will be integrated into every aspect of our lives. And, you think about our industry, Lenny, because we were both around when everybody's like, oh, mobile survey, like literally mobile surveys. Whereas, of course, today, like,
That was a form factor change.
right? Form factor change. But everybody was thinking about whether they needed to do it. That was the
Right.
point I was going to make, is it was a decision. This isn't a decision. If you not deciding to move into this space will not be an option for a successful company.
Yes.
Yes.
And yeah, here's the flip side of that.
We have so much to talk about, and here we are.
We do. Well, no, but it all frames it up, right?
Tell us if you're sick of this. Shoot us an email at theexchange@greenbook.org if you are so sick of Lenny and I and the freaking horse, because I could save this horse for a grandchild pretty easily.
I do think that this was an epiphany this week, and I've been sharing it because I thought it was just so powerful. You guys tell me whether I'm full of crap or not. There's been a few interesting things with this whole change, this technology, the new fire, right? The AI just unlocks usability of information. That's the fundamental piece. But there's been kind of two peripheral changes that have happened as a result of that. One was the need for increased processing power, right, to power this. So we've seen the rapid rise of NVIDIA, and it's all about chips and, et cetera, so that this technology can grow and be efficient and effective. The other has been power, right? When you have Google and Microsoft, et cetera, invested in nuclear power plants, right, dedicated just to powering the processing needs. The third that has not been talked about, but is fundamental, is data. The public LLMs have already exhausted all public available data. Already have. Now we are in the era of fit for purpose data. And to solve specific business issues, there is absolutely a role for the public LLMs, 1000%. But this is research, the industry's opportunity, because that's what we do. Yeah. We provide data fit for purpose around very specific foundational business issues. Yeah. So if we've been scared about AI, because it absolutely changes business models, it changes pricing structures, it changes process, absolutely, 100%. But the opportunity for us as an industry to be foundational, to be fundamental to this new ecosystem of providing the right data at the right time to address the right business issues. Yeah. Man, that is so damn exciting. It's just, I mean,
I know. Well, so, and my favorite use case for everybody, listening is for us to be able to interact with the data on a very human level. I want to be able to talk to it. And we talked about this on the webinar that Alita had with Greenbook yesterday that I participated on, the ability to interact with the dashboard and say, tell me what I'm looking at here, and have the AI assist with that, helping us become better researchers, because we can interact with the data. We can literally question and query the data to get new answers that we might not have asked originally. But hey, is there anything in this report that can help me with XYZ? Is there any report where we've already done this work? The legacy research, all of it is so exciting for us. Yep. So anyway, it was a big week of learning all around. But let's talk about some of these acquisitions, starting with these, because you and I have been talking now for a few weeks about different strategies, right? Mergers, acquisitions, partnerships. And there were a bunch of acquisitions this week that I don't know a lot of these details, but they are pointing to the direction of companies partnering with people with capabilities, understanding that now we have some table stakes. So anyway, first one, I don't know if you know SMG. I do not, but we certainly know Bulbshare. So SMG expanding their capabilities, partnering with and acquiring Bulbshare. So Bulbshare is an AI-powered platform for real-time customer insights. They've been a contributor to Greenbook for a while. Shout out to that team.
They were right.
About SMG? Yeah. They were right. We were going to talk about them today.
SMG's, they're actually a fairly large company, private equity backed, and primarily focused on, experience management. A lot of, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of it in entertainment is a primary focus. And, they're a significant player in that arena. And yes, they're layering in, bringing in Bulbshare for real-time customer insights and putting that AI in there. There's an example, and this is actually, it's a really interesting observation, because this will affect everybody out there. Big companies have a hard time pivoting themselves. Right? There's just a lot of inertia. And it's just a reflection just being big. So And when you have such rapid change like this, the logical way for them to progress, to say, "Oh crap, we got to get on this. We got to get on that horse too," is through acquisitions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so it creates a really interesting opportunity for kind of earlier companies like a Bulbshare
Yeah.
to scale rapidly
Yeah.
with a much larger partner, and that creates a real win-win opportunity for so some of these early stage startups, they want to be the next unicorn, and some of them will stay the course, and they'll go down the VC path and and grow.
Yeah.
Many others will be acquired
Yeah.
through partnerships like this because the big companies need them.
Yeah, the big companies need them. And one of the things that we talked about, I think last week, that came out of the AI intensive day was the client panel where they talked about they'd rather experiment with some new features with one of their trusted partners already. So if they
Yes.
have a trusted partner and that trusted partner happens to be AI forward, they're likely to give that a shot. My thinking, and I could be wrong, but if I were an AI company, I would be talking to my current clients to see what possibilities might be. How can they expand from a partnership into potentially an acquisition? I would be thinking
Absolutely.
about the existing you trust us, you know us. Hey, let's take you all the way.
100%.
So
100%. Yes. And that's going to be the theme. We've been seeing it. We're going to continue to see that as we head
yeah,
into next year, is really interesting partnerships, really interesting acquisitions. But it's about making the Reese's cup, right?
yeah,
It's their chocolate and peanut butter, combine them. And
yeah,
because there's so much opportunity now.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
The Reese's cup. Let's jump to the Amplitude one since it's also AI specific. Amplitude acquiring Command AI to enhance their app engagement offerings. I don't know either of those companies. So I think this one you pulled up. Did any or just was in our feed?
it was in the feed. I don't know much about them either. I thought what was interesting about that was now utilizing AI to increase engagement, right?
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a different application. Of course, there's going to be data. That's why you want to increase engagement, right? Conversion rates, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a unique use, not unique. It's happening, but here was an example of an acquisition that was specifically leveraging an AI first company for a slightly different business issue to help create a better experience, more engagement within apps. So we're just seeing this ripple effect of AI applications around lots of specific business issues that have to do with ultimately creating a better experience so you sell more stuff, right? And data supports that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that you and I talked about, an e-commerce company a couple weeks ago where, they were saying that AI is changing the way people are shopping online. So certainly changing the way people might interact with an app, how they might use something. Like AI is changing all of that. And anyway, so I don't know, just all good times here. Good times. All right, switching gears. We'll take a bit of a pause. Let's go to the Belendi acquiring UX tester recruitment firm Tandems. Do you know? I mean, Belendi has been around for a long time, right? But I don't know anything about Tandems.
Tandems is kind of a UX crowd, UX testing. So fundamentally a UX specific panel for all intents and purposes, right? They may not use the terminology panel. I just think that that's a land and expand kind of consolidation component, right? So offering more features, more capabilities on specific business issues, fundamental business building, type of approach. I'm pretty sure the Tandems is mobile centric, so there's probably some synergies to be unlocked there as well. So we'll continue to see that too, just business consolidation.
Well, that's the next one, that land and expand concept, right? So Riwi, who I know is near and dear to you in your work, so full disclosure, right? Lenny
full disclosure, I am a board member. Riwi is a public company and I am on the board, so so I have to be careful of what I say on this because there are implications.
So therefore, I shall introduce it for you. But Riwi acquiring Theorem Reach, and enhancing its capabilities right across trend tracking and MR. So, what are you able to share about that one? But I guess, it's expansion. So it's an acquisition driving expansion.
It is. So I mean, Riwi is, they built the business originally off a unique sample source, their RDIT, which was, intercepting random domain intercept technology, intercepting people randomly online that were not penalized. They'd made a previous acquisition to have more programmatic sample. Theorem Reach is a better quality programmatic approach. They're building out their capabilities to deliver more high quality sample into the industry, while also they acquired Cool Tool earlier in the year, so they have it's that stack of sample plus technology, and growing that way. That's still fundamental to the industry, and they're taking advantage of the need for higher quality global sample, and that continues to be an issue. So
absolutely it's that issue is not going anywhere. Apparently
it is not.
Apparently it's just growing, so we need to we might think we have it contained, but wait, there's more. So
I had hoped that for this call, our friend JD wrote a fantastic white paper that we got a preview of. I'd hoped it would be out this week. It's not. It should be out next week, and we'll hopefully be able to present it. But everybody pay attention, because JD was COO at Cent, and he's talking about in this paper how they gives away the meat on where there's challenges in that ecosystem and where the opportunities are for growth. And he's a fantastic writer, very entertaining. That's coming. No link necessary, but it's because this topic is not. It becomes more and more important because of everything we just said, right? We're building, our industry is now a data industry, where the transformation process of being data driven rather than project driven. And garbage in, garbage out.
And again, for those of you who are listening, like one of the reasons why Lenny and I harp on certain topics is because it's sort of, we perceive it as our job here to point out the challenges that you should be addressing, point out the opportunities that you should be exploring.
We're trying to help you.
Free advice, friends. Free advice.
Help me help you.
Plus, it's fun as heck to talk about. Anyway, all right. So acquisition. So let's talk about this collaboration, because I don't know the company Capacity, but Lucy and Capacity have united to lead AI innovation and boost some business efficiency there. So what do you know about Capacity and why this is a great partnership?
So I think Capacity is more so Lucy's a knowledge management platform, but they were AI before AI was cool, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly. We were querying data in Lucy before anybody else was, and and it was confusing. It was like, why are we? How is this even happening? What?
Right.
I mean, interesting.
Remember the first time seeing that, of like, wait, I can search a specific
I know
word used in a video, and it goes right to it. What?
I know, crazy. It's really so interesting.
I think Capacity is more kind of AI centric enterprise technology. Maybe not knowledge management per se, but kind of enterprise infrastructure is my sense on them. And this was just reading a press release. But another Reese's cup, right? They're complementary to be able to expand capabilities to be able to leverage information utilizing AI tools that across the organization, unlock more efficiency and usability. So, which we're all moving towards. I mean, even internally, Green Book, right? We're not there quite yet, but we use Notion and this and that and Slack and blah blah blah. As I'm sure we have all these different technologies. There's going to come a day pretty quickly where those things are either connected via some type of AI solution. There's some type of wraparound that allows us to unlock more value from all of the different components of information. This is the same thing.
Well, and that was one of the topics in the Alita webinar yesterday. We were talking about the consolidation of tools right? And how, that's going to be something. I think they shared a stat that they had, which is like the average company has like 7 research tools in their repertoire.
Yep.
And, like really wouldn't the goal be for all those end brands to have some consolidation so they do not have to be kind of, overextended moving forward? They would really like some of that consolidation. So agents will be helping with that. And then also offerings will be helping with that. So
Yep.
anyway, good time to be alive, right? Really interesting. So lots of new product launches also this week. Again, these are all things that are just hitting the news this week. So I can't help but think, Lenny, before we get into them, about how a year ago we did not have this much going on in terms of launches and acquisitions. It was a very different world a year ago.
It was. And even what we're about to talk about is just part of the things we saw this week.
Yeah, exactly. We don't see everything because, let me see if I can click on it if it shows.
Well, it's not even just see everything. This is just, we couldn't cover everything. We wouldn't have time. This would be an hour-and-a-half show.
Yeah. There we go. If you want us to see things, this is your guarantee. Is it right underneath me there?
Yes,
this
it
is.
This
is the guarantee. Anyway, of course, I'm also playing with the technology. So enough. Let's move on. All right. Product launches. So Ad Maple, I met this woman at our Europe event, and she's launched Sentiment Lab to compare how different AI models classify sentiment in text. I haven't played. I would like to play. This reminds me of what's the tool that you're using that kind of brings all the AI tools together?
Max AI.
So there's something about this where I'm like, oh, it's sort of Max for sentiment analysis. I think I like it, but I'm just guessing if that's what it is. So what do you think?
No, it seems that way. Yes. Because all of them do some things better than others, right? And that's actually a really interesting point. It's tempting to think AI eclipses sentiment analysis, social media analytics, text analytics, because it does all those things. Kinda, I get that, but the models are still important, and we're still building the models. And in sentiment analysis, text analytics, social media analysis, the common way that's done, is foundational to the LLMs, right? I mean, we're really kind of, it's like spokes on a wheel, right? I mean, there's lots of different components and models that feed into the LLMs, which are the hubs that help manage all of this stuff and put it together. So that it's important to be able to still say this gives me more depth. I like this model because it's based on, Plutchix. Is that right? Whatever the emotional affect models that you're going with, whatever it is, all of them do things differently. So I'm glad to see that we're still seeing companies like this that are not just focused on the wraparound, but are focused on the fundamental components of, this does this better. I was just the last week or two I've been playing with GPT 01.
Well, that's all I use now, but
but its ability to use numbers, right? So that's far better. But actually, from a writer standpoint, I still prefer Claude. I think Claude
you talked about that.
Writes better. I think it makes it's just more readable, engaging type of content overall. So anyway.
Fun fact, Tim Lynch, my husband, who, I shout out like more often than I should on the show, most likely, but he's in change management. I know. He's in change management consulting. And so he has been building some custom LLMs for some of his customers to help with certain tasks, like very specific tasks. And we were talking a little bit about that this morning. He's in academia and he's built an LLM to help with instructional design. So it's their own coursework, but it's all, kind of the LLM is being trained on their own coursework to help them develop, different iterations of coursework that all the professors can offer. Like he's involved in that type of work as universities, which is, he's largely involved in universities and the federal government, how they're all, anyway, creating their own custom LLMs. Why do I say this? I say this because that's also next, right? So we may be using, GPT or Claude or whatever, but we could also be, if we were those people, training those models on our specific use cases every day and creating our own so that
100%.
it's not necessarily pulling from the world of information, but our very custom.
Yes. That is
so
actually, cool. That's a fantastic point. Let's just for a second. Because I heard earlier this week, the future is small language models, which is those custom trained solutions to address specific business issues.
Yeah.
Right. And for our industry, that's hugely important because we're sitting on data. If you're Zappy, right, on creative testing, that is a unique data set that's not as big as whatever Google. But Google doesn't have access to the data to be able to predict creativity impact like Zappy or System One or our friends at Kantar or whatever, right? Any of the companies. I'm not trying to slight anyone, right? Everybody has the same opportunity to do that custom development.
Yeah. It's cool stuff.
It is cool stuff.
Anyway, all right. So let's talk about something else they could explore, right? This Canvas AI unveiling, is it ASA, an AI research assistant?
Yep.
So there we go. We
good segue.
Our first potential agent, they're the offering a natural language interface for data analysis. So they're doing it. I think everybody should check that out. I haven't gotten to it yet, but check that out. See what they're doing.
Good friends at Canvas. We've partnered with them for years on Grit to do text analytics back in that day, right? For all the openings and amazing company. And now that's that interface. Just explore the data in a conversational way, which is the next generation, and then they produce charts and graphs and all of that good stuff. Right. I actually, our friends at SMR, you may not like me saying this, but I'll say it anyway. Somebody asked me for some data on qual versus quant spend in the research industry. And it's like, I go in the SMR report and I could dig for it and find it. And so I was like, I'm just going to load the whole damn report up in ChatGPT and ask please give me the breakdown of qualitative versus quantitative spend globally by country. And there it was. It analyzed it and it gave me a chart or at least a table and broke it out. And it literally took me more time to upload the report than it did to get the output that I needed.
I know. Yeah, it's cool. So when speaking of qual, right, Dovetail launched Dovetail 3.0, which is an AI first customer insights hub, streamlining qualitative data analysis. So,
variation on a theme.
Variation on a theme. This, this data analysis assist, like foolishness keeps us from using the tools for that at this point because
it does,
because it's so we are able to work smarter, more efficient. Period.
At longtime listeners know I was resisting. I was holding out, and now you convinced me, right? Yes, it is just so. And I know I won't soapbox on this for a second. For those of you that are concerned about this, it doesn't replace us; it empowers us. Right. So like that example that I just used on the SMR report. SMR did a fantastic job. Thank God for them putting that data together. It's a great report. I love it. But the efficiency that unlocked for me to gain a data point, and then add to that contextually, right? My value was on here's what I think is driving that, and here's the means. That didn't come from anywhere else, But it took a process that all told I could have spent an hour or two combing and putting it together and using Excel and whatever. Copy and pasting. That entire thing where I delivered value, delivered the value,
right?
With the context, took me 15 minutes,
right?
So, and that opens up the door to do so much other stuff. And I'm feeling it. I don't know about you. My bandwidth is increasing.
I've been using it I've been literally as soon as it became a possibility, I was like, oh, absolutely, because I needed all the help I could get.
I go on record that you are far smarter than me. So
well, I am also, we are lead adopters of lead users of a lot of things, early adopters, lead users on a lot of things. I mean, it's just our, kind of personal preferences. My husband and I mean, we got the Ring doorbells up. We got, before those became a thing, we got, certainly had, we just like the technology. We like experimenting with it very quickly. We are not cynics when it comes to this stuff, because it's just part of our values about embracing what's ahead. So I think it's more that I very quickly, and maybe some might say, all right, maybe settle down, rowdy dude. But I certainly enjoyed every minute of it. But for those of you who are still learning, there's these 2 reports I want to get at, and we're at 30 minutes already. Recollective, speaking of qualitative research, Recollective published a Mastering AI for Qualitative Research, a guide for integrating AI in qual. That is a report that I should be digging into. Although I'm not practicing qual that much right now, it's still something that all my QRCA friends should be, taking advantage. So hats off to the team at Recollective. Always in my heart. Oh, Tim just shared on YouTube. We are early adopters. So he's paying attention. I don't know how. I thought he was on an airplane. I don't want to think about it. Literally, I think he's on an airplane.
He's early adopter. Was it Starlink on the plane?
How is he on YouTube Live mid-flight? I don't want to talk about it, Lenny. That's very stressful for me, but that's fine. Anyway, God bless Tim Lynch. And then also there's another report that I think everybody should read. So it switches from the B2B space a bit, but Qualtrics published its 2025 Consumer Trends Report, revealing, some key thoughts about customer expectations and behaviors. And you read this report, it will certainly bring up some things that are on customers' mind when it comes to the customer experience. But for me, I would encourage people to look at this Qualtrics report and be thinking, do some of these trends, play out in the B2B space? Because my gut tells me there are some things that are transferable. Now, that's not what this report is. This is customer trends, but some of these customers are B2B, right? Perhaps, and some of the behaviors. So anyway, 23,000 people in this respondent pool. I just think it's cool. And, one of them that I had hoped we had more time to talk about, one of the trends was feedback falling to a new low. And I think that's very interesting for anybody who is in the business of feedback, getting feedback, customer experience, customer satisfaction, whatever, feedback is falling to a new low. So I would say download this report, check that out, because I just think that's interesting. So anyway,
there was a whole lot that we didn't cover.
There's so much we didn't cover.
There's so much. Maybe Carly, maybe for next week's newsletter, we can have a things we didn't cover section. Because there were some cool things, but she and I could talk about that. Maybe there's a way to share some of the stuff we didn't talk about. But I am going to shout out publicly. Tim's post on YouTube says being at 36,000 feet is not an excuse to miss the exchange. Absolutely.
So, first of all, that's why I pay you the big bucks, Tim Lynch. And thank you. Thank you for showing up for me from wherever you are.
Thank you for making all of us husbands look bad, Tim. All right. Thank God Danielle does not watch the exchange. But shout out to my beautiful wife.
There
Danielle,
you go. There you go.
Who doesn't listen to the exchange because she has to hear this crap from me 24/7
all the time.
All right. On that note.
All right, friends. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Lenny, take care.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.